talk about the time where I put diesel in a non-diesel car. But in all fairness, I am a South African living in America, and this was not my car, guys. And so it made it even more painful. If you know anything about South Africa, in South Africa, we don't pump our own petrol/gas. There are people that do it for us, but here in America, in New Jersey, and I think there's another state where they have petrol attendants. The rest of the country, you have to jump out your car and pump your own gas. I had been here for a minute. I had known the rule. I had lived in America before we went back home and came back, and so I didn't think this would be a mistake I would make. Now I am so embarrassed and low-key traumatized from it, to a point where that same specific gas station, I never go to it. I always drive past it because I was just like so traumatized. But this is how it happened. That week was a very long week. A lot was happening with my family, people's health, just situations where I was like low-key nervous. The pandemic was still around, definitely still around, like at its peak, one of the peaks. But as y'all know, even if you're stressed or there's drama in your life, you still have to go to work. So I was still working. I took my host kid to one of his activities, and while he was there, I got this blonde idea that let me go fill up the car while he's here, which I was like lazy to go. Somebody was like, don't do it. I was like, I'm just gonna do it. That way I don't have to leave the house again later, that whole thing. And so I filled the car, but as I was filling it, I like took out the nozzle, and I'm like putting it in the side where you put the gas, and it's not going in. But I was so out of it, like I was just so stressed. Like honestly, I was stressed to a point where I was like at a daze with what I was doing. The only time I was actually paying attention when I was with the actual kid. Like him talking to him and being interactive was keeping me almost like aware of my surroundings in a way. But so I was like putting it, I'm like, this thing is not going in. And that's the last thing I remember. Well, not the last thing I remember. I obviously like filled the gas, and then I paid by card. So like I filled the gas and I filled up a full tank. Like I filled up, and I remember like cars looking at me vaguely, or like just being like, you know, and I left it. And so I left it, I jumped in the car, and I went back to pick him up. And as I go back to pick him up, there's like a hill you go up. I started hearing like a sound, and this is a brand new car, by the way, like brand new out the box. And it sounded like a cling cling, like a bottle hitting back and forth on something. And my host kid is known to have stuff in the back, so I'm like, oh, he probably has his water bottle and it keeps hitting because I'm going up a steep road. And so I keep going, go, fine, nothing happens. I stop the car, I get him, whatever, we do life, whatever, jump in the car, drive back to come home. Now luckily this place is like 8-9 minutes, 10 minutes maximum from the house, so it's not like we were driving far. You don't go on the freeway, that kind of stuff. And so we driving, and then we come up another hill to go to our house. And that's when the car started going like loud. When I tell you, I was like, what is happening? I pulled over and I was like, what is happening with this car? And I was like, this can't, instantly I was like, maybe there's something. I checked the brakes, and I was like, there's something wrong with this car. Anyway, I was like, no, we're so close to the house. We're literally like a minute from the house. I'm like, I'm just gonna drive home. We drive, like I drive the car home. The whole time I'm like driving slow, I'm like nervous. I'm like, okay, drive, come park, we get in the house. And we get in the house, we carry whatever. Then my host mom comes home, and my host kid's like, there's something wrong with the car. And we all like, yeah, there's something wrong with the car. And so we all like, it's a brand new car, it shouldn't have problems. So she takes the car, she asks what's the problem, she takes the car, she drives around the area, and she's like, yep, there's a sound that's coming out from the car. And they asked me like, did you hit anything? We're like looking under the car, checking, nothing. And then they were like, so I'm like trying to backtrack, like just check what did I do? Where did I go? Like just my whole routine. And I was like, the last thing I did on this car was put gas. And I said to them, I was like, the only thing I did was put gas. And so they were like, huh. And then I was like, wait, could I have put diesel in the car? And I was like, no. So I like leave it. Then I was like, no, wait. So I started Googling like, oh my gosh, like what color is the diesel pump? Like I've never, just that whole thing. And that's when I started remembering, oh my gosh, I remember the nozzle not wanting to fit. And so I started watching YouTube videos. And I'm like, oh, like I see this man explains the whole thing. And so I tell my host family, and they're like, oh, that could be a possibility. And so my host mom starts making calls, calling her dad, mechanics, whatever. And they say, and so now I had to take the car in to get drained. When I tell you, I was so embarrassed because when people heard this story, they would like laugh at me. But I'm like, you guys don't understand. It's like, I'm not justifying it that we don't put our own gas in South Africa, but at the same time, they're like, that's such a dumb mistake. How could you make it? And I'm like, guys, it can happen to anyone, number one. But number two, when you come from a country where you put, like, people put gas for your whole life, and then you come here and it's like, I don't know. And so I was like, it's an honest mistake. And not to say they were judging me, they were just like, oh my gosh, it's like, and it was so foreign to them that I could make that mistake. And I said, it's easier for me to make that mistake. And I'm not saying once again that, oh, this is justifying the mistake. But I was saying, when you come from doing it a certain way and you come into a different world where they do it a different way, it's easier for you to automatically make mistakes or not. Like, I never had to look at, oh, what nozzle I'm putting in the car before. Now I have to make sure because I'm here in America. But yeah, and so they took the car, they drained it out, they fixed it. The car's been fixed, the car's fine. But it was a lot of money, a big mistake. And that's it. So if you are South African or you come from a country where where you have people pump your gas, just make sure that you look. Now whenever I put gas, guys, I double check, triple check, do all the things. And so just make sure that you're looking at the nozzle. If it doesn't fit in, then it's not your gas type. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching it. Let me know at the bottom, have you guys ever made a mistake by pumping the wrong gas in? Or have you guys ever forgotten that you're not in South Africa or a different country where you drive on the other side of the road, and maybe by mistake, it's not on purpose, by mistake, you've gone to the other side of the road? I know for sure I'm not the only one that's done this, like the gas part. But do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.